Good morning, everybody. Head coach Dan Aaker here on Winter Warriors Live. Dan, let's go ahead and recap the Red Raider game last week. Very good performance from, I'm guessing, your perspective. 38-0 victory, 400 yards of rushing.
Yeah, I thought we played well. We did what we should do. Wagner kind of been struggling, and I thought the start of the game would be important to, maybe take away any thoughts that they could hang with us and play with us. And we talk about that a lot as, the good teams don't allow that. They do what they need to do, and we played a really good first half in all aspects. It's kind of weird. The game ended, started a lot like the Chamberlain game ended. On the first drive, we get a sack, we block a punt, and we actually score, but we had a legal block there. But that, defensively set the tone, and offensively we just, we thought there'd be areas that we could probably attack, and we executed very well and ran the ball really well. We only attempted 2 passes, and one was on a 2-point conversion, and didn't have to, and just really wanted to establish who we are, and just come after them offensively. And so I thought we did. We wanted to win the game, thinking that we could probably get some pressure. I thought we did that. We had a few sacks in there, some hurries. Offensively, we kept just kind of the pedal down. I thought field position was big because we went a lot of 3 and outs. I don't know if they got a first down until late second quarter, which they were punting, and we were getting the ball midfield and scoring. So 38-0 at half. Subbed down a little bit on that first series, which we ended up fumbling, then went full JV the rest of the game, which I thought was the right move, and able to get some other guys in there, some playing time as we're finishing up the year, and most importantly, not risking injury right now for something that it's not worth risking. So we got out of there. It was 0-0 the second half, but we moved the ball well with our second group too, but we just kept fumbling. And defensively gave up a few things, but they never really threatened to score. And so overall, we talked going into last week that we really thought, last night would be similar as tonight. We need to quit talking about things and showing that we can actually do things and be disciplined and play the way we're capable of playing playoff ready. And I think that we took a nice step forward in that direction, and tonight will be a very similar type thing. Just making sure that with a week away here that we're playing our best football and have the mindset of being a good playoff team that can make some noise.
Well, tonight's opponent is the Woonsocket Wessington Springs Sanborn Central Nighthawks. A team we're not very familiar with, but we do have a history with. They got us last year. Let's talk about the 2018 team. We got to talk a little bit about them earlier this week. And
yeah, last year we went into up there with chance can really kind of control our own destiny with getting a high, probably number 2 seed, conference championship on the line, and they got us. A really well contested game. The 2 guys, Kingsbury and Whitty, really stood out and reflect on last year. Probably 2 of the best players we saw, and without question, 2 of the guys that made the biggest impact on a team that we saw both sides of the ball, offensive and defensively. They've graduated, and they've been kind of in the learning process, I think, a lot this year without having them. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. They've had to move a lot of people around, and they're young. So with situations like that, sometimes you're going to struggle. I would say Chamberlain, without question, their signature win, and that was a big win for them, and it probably got them in the playoffs alone from that win alone. And they've had a tendency to really, I don't know if I'd call the games necessarily ugly, but they've kind of been that way. They've been, they've hung around, and they haven't been really cleanly played games, and I think that has been somewhat to their advantage. They've been in pretty much every game, and they've really struggled to score points, even in their wins. And so I think they've been trying to find packages, players, scenarios throughout the year of what could be beneficial to help them get some points in the board. The one thing that's been consistent for them is just solid defense. Even against Bridgewater, that was a 41-0 game, but there was an interception return and kick return in there, and another big play. You take that away, it's a 3-score game, and they're fighting along. So that's kind of what they bring to the table. I think the big key for us is to play at our caliber level and play our style, not let them bring us down, or not say down, but into their style, which they've had the ability to do with a lot of teams. And so that's the first and foremost thing. When you look at personnel-wise, they're just solid players around the board. There's nobody that we're going in tonight going, okay, we really got to shut this guy down or shut this guy down. They've had to move a lot of people around, and then move people around in certain different packages. So I think recognizing where some guys are can help us defensively. But, we got to play really well up front. And really our mindset is, just like I mentioned earlier, is we've got to play playoff-ready football and be clicking on all cylinders. And that's what we're hoping to do. And if we do that, I think we can play a very, very good football game. We've got a lot on the line tonight in terms of being able to play a game at home. I mean, we're in the playoffs, but we certainly want to host a game with a chance of who knows what happens first round and maybe get a second one. But none of that takes place if we don't get tonight. And so senior night on top of that, and we talk that with our seniors, they understand if they don't get this one tonight, this is their last game on Warrior Field. So I expect our energy to be high. I expect definitely our seniors to be laying it on the line, and I think that obviously I think our underclassmen will follow that suit and play aggressive and hard. And it's a big game all the way around in terms of who are we going to be? Are we going to be a true contender here? You need to, as I said before, you got to show those things, and so we have to show that tonight.
I'll just talk about playoffs. Normally when you talk playoffs, you're talking wet, cold conditions. This is the first time this year that we could actually talk about weather conditions affecting the outcome of a game potentially. What do you look for tonight? What do you tell your kids to get ready for a game like tonight?
Well, we had to deal with it all week. It was not a really good week practice-wise, and we actually stayed inside on Monday because Monday was really kind of a mental day for us and just didn't feel with the conditions outside we were going to get anything accomplished in terms of that. So we stayed inside and did a lot of our walkthrough stuff on Monday. Tuesday we had a solid, steady rain the entire practice. I mean, solid. So, and we went to full practice and tried to get in everything what we'd normally do on a Tuesday. And then Wednesday, sloppy, terribly muddy practice field. Not raining coming down, but snow melting, and so we dealt with.
Did you say snow?
Yeah, we had snow. Yeah, we dealt with wet ball, slippery ball, all week, and it's good to have to practice in that because you just never know when you're going to have to run into that. Not to say that we didn't have the ball on the ground a few times, but for the most part, I was pretty happy with our ball security, and it's also good for our guys to have to practice in slippery conditions. It's just different how you can try. There's little things you can do to kind of help manipulate your body to not slide around and lose your grip and that sort of things. So no matter how wet it is out there, muddy out there tonight on the game field, which it's not bad. The northeast side is a little wet, and that could probably get tore up a little bit or footing a little bad there. But we're definitely experiencing it all week. So not an excuse, and I'm guessing they did too because the whole state of South Dakota had snow and rain all week. But it's the first time this year where that could come into play, and turnovers are even magnified because the potential for turnovers are even more because of wet condition and the ball possibly going on the ground and so forth. So do we talk about it a lot? No. I mean, we always said as you guys experienced it all this week, so there's no excuse here. We know that it's going to be a little slick. We were out there this morning even and had our walkthrough, and so they've been in it all week and they know what to expect. It's going to be a little chilly, but it was 32 I think on Wednesday when we got up there, so it's going to be warmer than that. So
you've mentioned tonight is senior night. Let's talk about this senior class, and let's talk a little bit about their history and what they mean to you, what they've given back to the program.
Yeah, I think that anytime you get to this stage, you just see what. And first of all, I think that the thing that needs to be mentioned every year is just the commitment to sticking out to the program for 4 years, and we've got 10 of them that have did that, and that's not easy. That's the first talk we have with our entire team. If this was an easy thing to do, we'd have every single boy in our school doing it. There's a lot of dedication, there's a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of expectation. And then you add to it the fact that it's winter and the tradition we have. Trying to uphold what we have here is a daunting task in itself as well. So I really credit this group. They're not the most athletically gifted group, but I think they've worked hard to make their time here memorable and have had an active part in the part of the program. They've been part of 2 state champions, which was, I think, that'll last with them forever. They learned a lot from those guys and have tried to uphold that leadership role, and good kids, good solid kids in the classroom, out in the public, kind of entertaining, fun to be around, and that's as a whole. Each group has a tendency to kind of take their own identity, and it's usually as a group, which is kind of weird. You have individuals, but this group's kind of entertaining and kind of fun to be around, and we just hope that their senior ends the way they want it to end, and they worked hard, and so they should be rewarded for that, we hope.
Let's get to game time. Thanks, Dan.
All right, thanks, Jody.